welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Today is Tuesday, and it is How to Tarot Tuesday. And what it is that I host this series every Tuesday of the month. And what I do is I take the we go through the entire 78 deck of major and minor arcana in the tarot. And each week I pull the card in question going sequentially, and I pull 3 examples from 3 different tarot decks of that card. We go over the symbolism of the card, and then after we've gone over the symbolism, the watcher gets to choose a tarot deck that they're drawn to, and then I go ahead and I give a card reading as to how that card manifests in your life. Today is a great day because it is today is Major Arcana number 8, which is the Strength card. Now, at any time, if you'd like to skip over the description of the card meaning and go straight to your card reading, feel free to do that. All of the timestamps are in the description box below. These are timeless readings. Actually, all of my card readings are timeless, and that means that even though it has a particular theme or it might have a specific date, it is still, if you are drawn to it at the time that you're watching the video, then there may be a message in there for you. Now, I enjoy tarot and oracle because I believe that symbols speak to us every day. I think it is an excellent way to kind of do self-healing and self-meditation. You can look at the symbols in a card and get an idea of a solution to problems that are occurring in your life, or some, it could also be a reflection of deep-seated anxiety or anything else that might be going on below the surface in your own psyche. So I love cards for that reason. And I really enjoy this series because as we go over the symbols, you can be experienced with tarot or you can be new to tarot, and I've noticed that you always learn new things as you go through and look at each of the cards. And to have a comparison amongst several decks is always a nice thing. As we go through the 78 tarot, 78 symbols, cards of the tarot, I do pick what I believe to be the strongest representation of that card. So today I have 3 different decks. I have the first deck for the How to Tarot series will always be the Rider-Waite-Smith, which is it is the basis of all tarot. It's the most used tarot deck based on the Rider-Waite and Pamela Smith artwork. And the cards that I use are by a German printer group called A.G. Mueller. Paired with that deck, I have a sunstone that has a kind of a brownish tinge to it. It's very pretty. The second deck that I go with, and this is the deck that, if you watch my channel, you'll know that this is the deck that I actually formally learned tarot. I had a mentor that I met at a Renaissance festival who uses this particular brand of deck. It's like a 1960s, 70s version artwork, and it's the Morgan Greer. And it just has, I just feel like every single time I think of the Strength card, these are the 3 that come to mind. And paired with it, I have a lapis lazuli stone. The last deck is the Slow Tarot by Lacey Bryant, who is a California artist. She actually created this deck to be a modern version of the tarot. All of the images in this deck are actual artwork. They're paintings that she did over the span of 8 years, and we're talking about number 8, so it's very apt, right? And the third card is by her deck, the Slow Tarot. And paired with it is the stone that I keep with this deck, which is a bloodstone. And we actually have some natural light today. It's a bloodstone that goes with that deck. Now, one caution is that with the Slow Tarot, there are a few of what I call naked bits. You might see a little bit of nudity. If we do come across a nudie part, I am going to have to emoji you. But I'll just cover up the bit with the emoji. It is a PG channel, and YouTube is understandably very particular about certain things. There's certain rules about language and other things that I try to adhere to. So if there's anything that's blatant nudity, we will go ahead and cover that. Now, when I get into your reading, I am going to clarify using 2 oracle decks. The first one is your Animal Spirit Guides by Colette Baron-Reid, which is a beautiful deck. I just feel like, given strength, the fact, and in a minute we'll talk about that, the fact that there's a lion, an animal, I wanted to clarify using animal decks. The other one is the Fauna Oracle deck, which is double-sided, and this is available from Etsy, and all of the names of the authors are also listed in the description box below. I actually got the frog card the other day, and it means cleansing. It means emotional cleansing, and in a minute we're going to talk about that, but I actually got this card recently, and I thought I just was drawn to use animal decks for clarifiers, and guarding our fauna deck is my little he's a blue goldstone frog, and he has a little imperfection underneath his eye. He has a little marred thing, but I love it. I think it gives him character. So I have a frog on my frog, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So, okay, I'm moving the mic, I hope. Okay, my microphone flips a little bit. Can you hear me? Okay. I know when I touch the microphone you hear a booming sound, so I try not to do that unless absolutely necessary. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get through the description of strength. So let's get started and do that. Now, strength is, I know I say this every single time, but I feel like strength is one of my favorite cards. And just a brief announcement too is that one of the reasons I was really glad that strength was coming up in the How to Tarot roster in the rotation, because this last weekend I do, on Saturdays I host a weekly energies read, and this last one, which is for the next week from the 23rd to the 30th, or whenever you find the video, it is timeless, but I noticed there were several decks that had really heavy energies, and guys, we're coming up on Thanksgiving, and goodness knows, the moment that you come up on a major holiday, and it's, you know, it just got me thinking, it was so perfect that strength was going to follow up that reading, because you know, I never like it when the readings are too goody two-shoes, and I never like it if the readings are too, gloom and doom either. I always like it when it's a happy medium, but this is life, and all I'm doing is reading a story. I'm pulling, and that's the other thing, is that if you ever feel like you've picked a deck and it just does not sound like your situation, by all means, take it with a grain of salt. This is just general. It's almost like reading a story using symbols. If you are not resonating, if you feel like it's just not gelling, it doesn't sound like it pertains to you, by all means, take it with a grain of salt. Maybe pick a different pile, or maybe that week just doesn't have a message for you, and that's okay. That's completely okay. But this last week, I just had several decks that had some really, like, we got the moon, we got the 3 of swords twice, and one thing that I didn't stress it as much in the video, and I wish that I had, is that I started seeing splays. There was one that had like 5 cards, and it was like person, situation, person, situation, person, and it dawned on me that, okay, we're coming up on Thanksgiving. This is when family gets in the same room together. And when you have the King of Diamonds and the Queen of Diamonds, which is the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles, with the 4 of Swords between them, that could be couples, that could be your parents, that can be you and your spouse, and then you see a third person that's of a different suit. So I'm sorry, I don't mean to ramble, but what we'll do is, when we pull your reading, if you see something, and I'll be clearer about it this time, but if it seems like there's people, this next week might pertain to that, because we are, Thanksgiving is that first holiday that begins the wrap up of the year, and goodness knows, everybody, I've seen the I've seen the Wheel of Fortune so much, and I've seen the world come out a whole lot, and that means cycles. We are wrapping up cycles, and nothing says a wrap up of a cycle than the end of the year coming around, and you getting around family, and there's always family dynamics, there's friend dynamics, there's relationship dynamics, it's the holidays, if you're bringing someone home to meet the family, if you're not bringing someone home to meet the family, it's all interpreted, right? And then, if you've had any falling out. But long story short, too late, This last read really weighed on my mind because we got hard cards. Like we got the Three of Swords, and I saw 3 people, and it looked like love triangles, and it looked like, problems with family, and it looked like the Moon, which is subconscious desires or subconscious, just emotional slush. So what I was going to extend out to you guys is that if you did watch that reading and you felt like you might have gotten some kind of tough energy, please watch this reading too, and maybe pick a deck here, because the Strength is such a powerful card. It means the Strength is how we endure. It's how we stick out the tough times. So I just wanted to put that out there that, this card is a really wonderful card for that, and we'll go ahead and get started, and I'll stop blabbing. But if your weekly energy did not resonate, or if you felt like it resonated, but it just seemed kind of gloom and doomy, go ahead and pick a card here, and let's see how we cope with all this, because I know we're strong. Strength is strength, right? So without further ado, let's go ahead. Now, the Strength is a beautiful card. It is such a beautiful card. All of the Major Arcana is, but if you look at it, the Strength is this kind of virginal woman in, kind of a white dress with a high collar, and she's wearing a wreath of foliage around her head. And what's beautiful is above her head, she has the infinity symbol. And the infinity symbol is what you give is what you receive, right? It's it's the cycle of life. It's karma. It's the number 8. It's the number 8 on its side, by the way. And Strength is the number 8, right? And 8s are about, they precede 9, which precedes 10, which is culmination. It's the wrapping up of cycle. And the fact that this is Thanksgiving, then we have Christmas, then we have New Year's. I just really feel like, this is good that it's coming out, that we're talking about this around Thanksgiving. Now, the infinity symbol, the last time we saw that in the Major Arcana was over the head of the magician. And gosh, he was early on, right? The magician was 1. He was I create, right? But now we have that same, powerful symbol over the head of what this very virginal woman. She's wearing all white. It's a very simple dress. She's modest, right? She looks like a woman of a gentle woman, right? She looks like someone who is kind and giving. And the reason is because you see red flowers and lilies all over her dress, and you see a crown, which almost looks like a crown of victory. Now, when you look further down, what you see is that she is gently holding a lion. And a lion, has such great symbolism. First of all, the first thing that jumps to mind as an astrologer is you think Leo the lion. And Leo, whether it pertains to a woman or a man or the astrological sign, it means ego. It means a warm, radiant, it's the sun. If you in your chart, it's the sun. It's your sense of self. It's your sense of purpose. It's also, and the fact that it's an animal, the lion it's almost our subconscious sense of ego. It's that very primal place in ourself that says, this is what I am. This is what I represent. This is who I am, right? And the fact that you see this woman has her hand near the lion's mouth. And, normally that would be a pretty fearsome thing. In real life, you think about a lion, they're not domesticated. They're not something, it's not like your house cat that you can just go up and even then they swipe at you sometimes. But, normally if you go up to a wild lion, they would try to bite you, or they might try to make you lunch, right? And here she is putting her hand very close to the lion's mouth. And instead of her biting, instead of the lion biting the woman, instead of him being aggressive or defensive, he's licking her. Almost like a tamed cat. He's like, yes, there's a calmness there. And so when you think about that, you think, and just to throw it out there also, astrologically wise, you know, the Virgin is represented by the sign of Virgo, and then Leo is represented by the lion. And Leo and Virgo and Leo border the you know, the sixth sign is, you know, September, and then it goes in, or I'm sorry, August goes into September. So Leo goes into Virgo. So, and we'll get into that in a minute, but basically, you know, Virgo is a very modest sign. It's a serving sign. It's a communicative sign. It says, okay, I serve, I communicate, I do what's best for the good of all, right? And sometimes it's very self-effacing. There's very little ego in a lot of Virgo people. They are picky and they do care about cleanliness, but most of the time it's not from an ego-centered place. They're here to serve. Or if you have an afflicted chart, it might be that you're forced to serve, but not in a bad way. It's for you to have the experience, the life experience of being there in a humble capacity to help others. And then the Leo is the leader. Leos are always very warm. They're leaders. They go out into the world and they do. They're the fixed fire element, which is I take action and I do. And, you know, sometimes, you know, in an underdeveloped Leo, in a negative expression of Leo, it can be ego, or it can be egotist, or, you know, pompous or boisterous, you know, a little too over the top. It's, you know, you're going to do what I want you to do. But in its positive form, Leos are the CEOs. They are the people who go out in life and say, yes, see, look at this can be done, you know? And they're regal like a lion. And now, when you look at the background, you know, just like I said, in any other card, the backgrounds mean a lot. You have a mountain that's off in the distance, which means that, you know, there are challenges that you're either going to embark, you know, you're going to go towards, or you've come back from. And everything is real natural. Everything's real green, almost like the Empress card. Everything's very, it's not, whenever you see nature in the back of a card, it means that it is unaffected by society. It's unaffected by that metropolis built up, you know, status quo, man-made, I guess I could say, you know. So what that means when you come down to it, and when you look at this, the Strength card for Morgan Greer has the same imagery. You got the mountain in the background. You've got the woman with the crown. And honestly, blue and red means masculine and feminine. But same thing. She's holding the lion's mouth, and it's almost like she's holding the lion's mouth open, right? It's almost like she's guiding him to take a bite. But you would think any animal that you would try to do that with, wouldn't they just take your hand off? But here he's like licking her. He's saying, no, this is okay. You know, I need this guidance. I need to, you know, I need to know, you know, what to do. Please guide me. And what that means is, you have a powerhouse of primal energy, your Leo self, your lion inside of you that's very animal, it's very ego, it's very I am, it's very unconscious. You have a human woman who's humble, who's pure, who's kind, who is about good karma, who is about, you know, doing the right thing, opening your mouth or touching the lion. And look at this on the Slow Tarot. I love this. First off, I love the ethnicity of it, and then she's got a beautiful, vibrant red dress, and she's head to head with this lion, and there's so much gold in the background. It's really gorgeous. But what you're doing is you're becoming one with your subconscious ego force. And so strength means knowing that you can endure. It means having a gallant spirit. It's about being patient, and it's about soft control. So what you see a lot is anytime you've been through you normally see it when you've been through some crap, to be honest. Because what it means is that, have you ever met those people who, when you have to tell them no, or things are just not going their way, or it seems like Murphy's Law and everything that could go wrong is going wrong, and it's just absolutely infuriating what, the circumstance, but yet they keep their cool, they keep their calm, they say, okay, how do we get through this? That would be the epitome of strength. Because what it is it's saying, okay, this, if I listen to my base desires, I would be going off on someone right now, right? I would be chewing someone out, or I'd be, flipping my stuff. I'd be, losing my temper, or screaming at someone. But here you're keeping it in check, and you're keeping it in check for altruistic reasons. It's like, okay, it's nobody's fault that this is happening, this is just, it's crappy, it feels crappy, but I will get through this. This too shall pass is kind of the theme of strength. And so in that sense, it does mean being compassionate. Sometimes if someone's going through a tough time, it can mean giving someone some space. So, just like this woman is kind of saying, okay, maybe, if it's representing a person, first off, it could be a Virgo Leo person. It can be someone who either in their sun sign or throughout their chart could be a cusp of a Virgo Leo. It could be someone who's going through a tough Leo transit. It could be someone who's going through a tough sixth house transit. But it could mean that you just need to give someone kind of some space. When you see somebody, when you kind of get that feeling like, okay, they're acting like a lion, they're roaring, right? And what you want to do is you want to be gentle with that person. So you could be a mom or a sibling or a parent. I'm sorry, I already said that, or a child. Maybe it's a parent, and you see that they're, it's just kind of like observing that someone's getting into their base response to things, and you wanna give them time to work through it. It can mean, accepting, and it can mean forgiving imperfection. Because a lot of times you look at it and people know, what a lion's temperament is, right? You can kind of say, well, look, you're roaring at me, but I understand, you're ticked off or you're frustrated, and that's what you do when those base desires or those base responses are triggered, is that you roar, you get ticked off, you get mad, or whatever that person's response is. So this can definitely, if you're married, or if you have a best friend, if you have a sibling, and they're kind of exhibiting, you've known them since childhood, and they're having a stock response, they're having their stock response to something. Strength might come up because it's like, okay, yes, that's how they operate, that's how they respond. If either that, or if you kind of cringe when someone's like, oh, don't say that to this person because I know how they'll respond. They're going to respond like the lion, right? And then you're coming in like the Virgo that's like, appeasing the lion, so it can be you being the peacemaker. It can be, dealing calmly with frustration. Again, if, this time of year we've got the shopping day of the year coming up after Thanksgiving, Black Friday. You could get frustrated. We're just coming out of a Mercury retrograde, so there's still a few bumps and blips coming, where you might have mixed up orders, or you might have to do returns, and strength just means that you can remain calm through all of that, that you're not going to be that person that's just, getting angry, because that really doesn't get you anywhere. It also means showing forbearance. Maybe someone kind of did you wrong, or just acted in a really kind of base, kind of petty way, but you understand, you can put yourself in their shoes. It doesn't make it right, but you're going to be the better person and kind of soothe them, or do the right thing to make the situation. And honestly, the figure 8 really plays into that too, because whenever you do the right thing, even though somebody else is kind of coming from a kind of like a base place, you earn cosmic brownie points for that, because you made the situation level, even though somebody else might have, and it is that, it's the tipping point, right? If it goes one way, it could really blow up into something ugly, but you refuse to let it go there. You kind of got everyone back into a calm place. So in that sense, it does mean gentle force, the ability to overcome problems through willpower. Now, that is the last meaning of strength, and then we'll wrap it up, is when it comes to Lion and it comes to Leo, so, definitely, that's the last thing, is that Lions represent willpower. It means that whatever is happening, you have the strength. That's the other thing that's really beautiful about this, and that's also why I really want anyone who, if you got kind of a rough reading from the Saturday weekly energy card reading, please look here, because strength means you have it's the universe. When you get this card, it means you have what it takes to get through this situation. Now, sometimes I roll my eyes a little bit when I get the strength, because a lot of times, sometimes I'll be going through a lot of crap. I'll be subjected to things that seem really petty, that really upset me. And, and then I'll pull the strength card. And it's just kind of the universe is saying, like, stick it out. Just stick it out. If you stick it out, you'll see the higher meaning. You'll see why. Again, the Virgin and the Lion. Someone did something that was very, ego, primal, unconscious, part of their base desires, and you had to smooth it out. You had to make the situation right. You had to pour oil into troubled waters. And if you continue to do that, the universe will show you why, and you'll earn brownie points for it. It's definitely a little frustrating, because it's like, okay, yes, I know how to calm this, but it just tells you that, you have what it takes to get through this. Now, anytime you see strength in reverse, that usually means that you're having trouble getting through this, right? You're losing strength. Either that, or it can mean a lack of control. It can mean that things are spiraling out of control and you can't manage it anymore. That Leo, that ego is overtaking the woman, right? You can't, continue to do it. You're weary. You're running out of strength. It can mean a lack of strength. It can also mean that you're losing heart in a situation, and that's also a really sad interpretation. But if strength is blocking, or if it's inverse, it just means it's like, okay, seriously, I've been doing this forever. How much longer do I have to do this? Right? I can't go on. I can't make it over that mountain. It's just too much. And so whenever strength is in reverse, it can mean that. As far as persons go, as far as people, it can mean someone who's the peacekeeper. It can mean that there's someone that that's very balanced, that seems to balance their sense. They have a great sense of serving and leading. Whenever their ego gets wrapped into something, they don't take offense. One of my favorite sayings is always like, the first saying is, take nothing personally. And definitely try to communicate when you can. But the other part of strength as well is that it isn't telling you that you should just sit back and take any offenses. It also means if somebody has done something, approach them. Approach them and just kind of try to hash it out in a peaceful way. But it's definitely telling you that you have the ability to do that. You have the ability to make balanced the good for all and the undercurrent of kind of beast desires. Now, the other thing, in that vein, it means that you can tame the beast. You can tame the beast, both in yourself, in a situation, or in another person. Sometimes when it manifests as a person, if you've ever seen it where, sometimes, and this is couples, and this can be male or female, if you've ever seen a husband and wife where, one And it could be the wife versus the husband too. It doesn't just have to be, you know, the male who's the hot-headed one. You know, if you've ever seen one spouse be kind of hot-headed and then the other person kind of going like, I'm sorry, it's going to be okay. You know, it can kind of manifest like that too. The strength is kind of neat that way, where it can manifest as two people, you know, one person who's really kind of the, you know, speaks from their, you know, from their drive and their sense of ego, and then the other person who always tempers that or makes it better. But okay, so that is the strength, and I do think it's a lovely card. It's always an encouraging card to get in a spread, especially when things have been kind of tough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and I'm going to let you choose a deck, and then after you choose the deck, we'll go ahead and we'll do a reading to see how strength manifests in your life. I'll go ahead and pause, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. We are taking advantage of the lovely, that we do have some natural light today. The days are still so short, you know, it can be 3 in the afternoon and still kind of overcast, but we're going to take advantage. So, sorry, I'm moving my microphone. I hope that's not, you know, booming in your ear. So deck number 1, how does strength manifest? Thank you. Oh, you got Queen of Wands. Oh, it's a Leo card. It's a Leo card. I always get so excited. Look at that. You got Leo. You got Leo lady. All right. Thank you, Spirit. All right. Ooh, this is shaping up. Okay. That is a lot of cards, but I'm drawn to take them. Holy Toledo. We got a matching pair. Oh gosh, guys, I think on Saturday we got a matching pair. We got the Queen and King of Wands. Oh, that's awesome. So again, if you felt like you got kind of a rough read over the weekend, please watch this too if you're so inclined. You can jump straight to your reading. Go for a deep dive. You are never alone. Okay. Let's go ahead and get your animal card. What is the advice for how does strength manifest in deck number 1's life? Exploration. I'm giggling because raccoons, I have a really sweet work colleague who had a raccoon on her front porch, and she lovingly refers to them as trash pandas. And so now I think that anytime I see one, it's a trash panda. All right, guys. So how deck number 1, Rider-Waite Smith. How does strength manifest in your life? Now, I am getting that this is kind of a current energy, but it's definitely, we got some people on the board. We got a lot of fire. This is all wand, 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 Leo. So this is a fiery spread, by the way. I don't know, it doesn't have to be that you're a fire sign. You might have fire in your chart, or you just might be, the interaction with people is expressed in a fiery way. But you got the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands is a beautiful character. For the record, she's Leo. When you look at this, she almost looks like this lady, right? You know, she's got the crown of flowers. On top of her crown, she's got flowers. She's got a sunflower, means self-esteem. And she is represented by Leo. Some decks think her as Aries, so you could be an Aries lady. That's entirely possible. Or you could be a man watching this reading and be exuding a nurturing fire elements. That's impossible. That's possible. So it just because it's coming up as a woman and you're a man doesn't mean, it just means that you're exuding feminine, the nurturing aspects. But basically what I see that the way that strength is expressing in your life right now is, I really get the vibe that you are the Queen of Wands. You are the Leo, and you're doing an impeccable job of balancing your ego and your kind of your primal desires, the inner beast, you are keeping in good balance, and you're doing that with a heck of a lot of grace. And I'll tell you, the Queen of Wands, she is that gorgeous person. I kind of have a mixed opinion of movie stars. I think they're gorgeous, the things that they do to stay beautiful, because every single time they go out into public, they're going to have a million pictures taken of them. But it's almost kind of like that with the Queen of Wands. I kind of think that it's one of those persons, it's one of those things where don't be surprised that you're probably the type of person that's been approached in the past and people are like, you're so perfect. Everything in your life is just on the level, and you would probably kind of scoff a little bit and be like, well, my life is far from perfect. But what it is that you work so hard to keep that balance. You work so hard to balance your emotions with your common sense that you come across as if you have your stuff together. People look at you and they think, gosh, she's well dressed, she's well groomed, she takes care of herself, she doesn't put up with any BS. She's just this glowing beacon of everything that it means to be the perfect woman. And you're quite beautiful, by the way. So don't be surprised that people think, on the surface, and again, the Queen of Wands is a little bit of a surface character too. It's like from the outside, everyone's like, oh, you're so perfect. And then on the inside, you're like, well, it's not so perfect. I got to keep that lion happy. And sometimes that lion isn't happy. And actually right now, the fact that kind of the middle of your situation, you got the 10 of Wands, it does feel like you are working hard. You are working hard to maintain, I'm not going to call it a facade because it's not a facade, but you are working hard to maintain that exterior. And I think it's because it's personally important to you. And again, Leo, the lion here represents ego. It's important for you to not be perceived as if you're struggling. That would offend you. It would offend you for you to admit, and it isn't that you're afraid to be vulnerable, it's just that you want to be seen as strong. And the thing is, you're a strong person, you're a strong woman. And you have good self-esteem. It's just what you're experiencing right now is challenging that. It's forcing you to have a good self-esteem. And it's almost kind of irritating the way that it's doing that. Have you ever had those challenges in life where, maybe someone, did something that really annoyed you? And they're like, well, this lesson, it's teaching you to have better self-esteem. And you're like, well, I'm all good and dandy in the self-esteem department. That other person really needs to not do that to me, right? So I think that's what it's kind of saying, is that you really are kind of taking on a little too much. The 10 of Wands is, he's been showing up quite a bit. He showed up in the weekly energies this last weekend, and I think in the weekend before that. So if you are the same watcher, you got it together. Honestly, the Queen of Wands is, you got it together, but you might be struggling under the surface to keep it together. And it is okay for you to put a few of those rods down. If you're maintaining some kind of status quo, either with other people at work or even within yourself, give yourself a break. Put some of those rods down, because you're doing a phenomenal job. You're doing a good job. You're keeping a great balance. You're doing a lot more work than anybody else would probably, you're putting in more work than anybody else would probably even dedicate to whatever, your situation. So it is the universe's way of saying, okay, you're putting in a lot. It's okay to give yourself a break, but you're definitely putting in overtime to keep that lion happy and to not go off on anyone. Now, in the future, you got more rods. And look at this, a synchronicity alert. All three of these characters, the Strength, the Queen, and the Six of Wands, they have foliage in their crowns. The Strength has flowers the Queen of Rods on top of her gold crown has flowers, and then you have the fig leaves, almost like the Caesar crown of victory. And so the work that you are putting in is going to pay off. That's what it's telling me, is that everything that you've done to maintain your self-esteem, oops, I got this flip-flopped. Everything that you've done to retain your strength, to balance your inner ego, it's been a lot. You've had to carry more than your fair share. It's almost like you've had to put up with other people's ego in addition to your own. And you've had to understand, you've had to tame the beast with air. It's been unfair. It's left you to carry more. But what you did is you carried that load with a lot of grace. And I do see that in the near future, you're going to get some victory for this. You're going to get some recognition for having carried that so modestly. I have a feeling this is connected to the woman. You carried this burden almost silently and very, again, with a lot of grace and very, with modesty. And I think that you're going to be rewarded, or you're going to be seen in a beautiful light. Now, underneath or clarifying the 6, you got some phenomenal cards. First off, you got the 10 of Cups, which is like, everyone wants the 10 of Cups. It's that emotional, hell yeah, it's the happy, emotional home life. And it's almost better than gold. The 10 of Cups is better than gold because you are happy. You're happy with your partner, you're happy with your home, you're happy with your job, you're happy. It's just life is good. It's hashtag life is good. And in the middle, you got the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is keeping up with the status quo. So it does, I am getting kind of a vibe that this is a little bit of an image thing. The way that you're seen in your working in life or just out in public, the way that the public sees you is very good. They see you as very balanced. You're exemplary is what I'm getting. But the other thing about the Hierophant is that it is learning spiritual lessons. So I think all of this has taught you a lot. Again, it was hard work. It was hard work that you took on. And what I'm kind of smiling at is that at the end of it, you got the King of Wands. So that's your counterpart. That's, the King and Queen are a couple. They're meant to go together. And you look at this, and the King is a very warm, dynamic. He's a very generous. He's emotionally generous. And I'll tell you one thing is when you look at his expression, the King of Wands gets what he wants. And the Queen of Wands knows what she deserves. So when these two get together, it's a powerhouse. And I promise you, on Saturday we had the King and Queen of Wands there too. It was a couple, and it was actually, if I recall the read exactly, someone was longing for that, like they were moving towards that. So I really get a feeling like this is the universe saying, and if you watch that read, I think it was pile 2 from the weekend, but it's telling you the source of your strength is that you are the real deal. You are gorgeous, you are motivated, you are beautiful inside and out. You know how to balance your desires, you know how to work hard, and you are well deserving. You have earned this acclaim about 10 times over. No lie, 10 times over. When this recognition comes, all I can say is please go ahead and accept it. Lean back and get that glory, honey, because you earned it. And you put a lot of strength over a long period of time, and you handled a lot of inner balance to do that. And what it will get you, and these are 10s, 10 of Cups, spiritual learning, and your counterpart, a mature counterpart to what you are. That's what you're earning. And so I'm really impressed by this read, guys. I'm sorry to get so animated, but I'm just really glad for you. That's you've earned this, and wands are action and their spirit. So you've definitely earned it. Now, one thing that I really thought was great, and I'm smiling right now because, we talked about, you being so graceful. We talked about you being graceful. Look at your oracle card. You got swan spirit. Oh, and honey, tell me you are not a swan. Look at that. You are a pretty lady. by the way, or man. If you're a man, you're very handsome. And if you're a man, you go after what you want too. There's no stopping you. Freight train can't stop you. But the Swan Spirit is time for a deep dive. And one thing that's beautiful about Swan Spirit is, first off, you look at how much pink is in there. And pink is that lovely yin. It's receptive. It's like, it is almost like the Virgin in the card. It's like saying, you know, you don't have to be aggressive. You don't have to be aggressive to get what you want. It's gentle control, which is definitely a strength concept. But the thing about swans is that the reason that they glide across the water is because they are paddling like crazy underneath the surface. But you never see the paddling. You never see the feet manically moving. You just see the grace of the swan on top of the water just kind of gliding by. And so it is telling you that you are handling this situation with a lot of grace. That's just inherent in your nature, and that's part of your strength. You're doing a great job. It's almost like keep up the good work. I'm really getting that vibe. Now the other thing, and I love this card, is look at this, guys. You got Otter Spirit. You are never alone. And look at this, guys. You got a pair. And remember, otters are those cute animals that kind of they do the back float and they hold each other's hands. So they're very bonded. And look at that. I mean, again, you know, you got an otter, and then you got the king and queen of wands. I mean, how perfect is that, guys? So there might be somebody in your life who's truly your life partner, or someone who's just there for you, who's got your back, right? And then let's go ahead and read your last card, and you got Raccoon. And again, I love Raccoon. But exploration. So let's read this. Raccoon encourages us to consider the complexity of disguise. Hiding one's true character or feelings should not be viewed as inherently wrong. Sharing one's truth is a very personal matter. Exploring our imperfections and bathing in our frailty is hard. Adorning her mask, Raccoon encourages us to investigate our vulnerabilities and reveal them only when we are ready. Through her example, she offers protection, permitting fertile ground for spiritual cultivation and growth. Oh gosh. And guys, I really feel like, again, remember how we said at the beginning of the reading that, you know, from the outside, everyone thinks that you're perfect, but in the inside, you're like, I might be donning a little bit of a mask here, right? This isn't easy, right? This isn't easy. From the outside, it looks like this, but on the inside, I'm kind of like, I'm being guarded, right? And I love the fact that the back of it said, you know, spiritual cultivation and growth. And wands are spirit. Wands are spirit, right? They're action and spirit. And it's your sense of self. And so all I feel like is, I feel this entire read is just saying, you keep up the good work. You're doing the right thing. You don't have to be open. You don't have to be an open book, but you're doing the right thing. You're keeping the right balance. You've been working really hard, and you are very close to being rewarded or getting some victory for that. And you are not alone. You are either with a partner, or you will soon be with a partner. And again, you decide when you reveal yourself to others. You do not have to reveal anything you don't want to reveal, but you're doing the right work, and you're very strong. You're very strong. You have a healthy ego. That's the other thing, is all of this is a very healthy ego. All right, guys, that was a wonderful read. Now, just to reiterate, the How to Tarot days do run a little bit longer. I try to give you a good 10, anywhere 10 to, it usually sometimes goes 20 minutes, but I try to give you a thorough reading because, you know, you deserve that if you're watching my channel. Oh, and by the way, guys, I just moved from 8 subscribers to 9, and I am so grateful. Thank you, guys. I'm so flattered, and I will definitely, you know, continue to work hard to give you good quality content. So, deck number 2, the Morgan Greer. How does strength manifest in your life? Morgan Greer. How does strength manifest in your life? How does strength manifest? Ooh. How does strength manifest in deck 2's life? Morgan Greer. How does strength guys. Let's get your oracle. Okay, there's way too many cards, but I'm going to go with the two that are showing. And let's go ahead and get your animal. Can you see? Are we in focus? Good. All right. All right, that was easy. All right, guys. So deck number 2, Morgan Greer. Now, first off, I see that for your strength, the way it manifests is there have been experiences. Your strength manifests right now as a very instinctual need to pull back, to kind of leave, go away from the world and kind of explore yourself. You got the Hermit, which is, if you look at it, it's that card of the wise man going up into the mountains, and you see he's on like a snowy mountaintop, and he's holding a lantern with a star. And what that means is, it really does, I get this vibe, and as we go through the read, again, the other cards are really going to give us some description, but you've had events that have forced you to be strong, but they were they made you very self-reflective. They were hits. They were emotional hits. They were mental hits. And your response to it was a very mature one, in the fact that you said, instead of me getting angry, instead of me going off on someone, I'm going to exude strength by, turning within. I'm going to turn within, and I'm going to reflect on what's happened. And I'm going to determine what I should do next. So the Hermit is a very deep character. He's a Major Arcana. He's the number 9. We're going to be talking about him next week. But he's a beautiful character. Sometimes he's viewed as being a little isolated, but when he's in the upright, it basically means that you're taking the wisdom of what has happened to you and you're integrating it within yourself. You're going up to the mountaintops to reflect on what's happened, and you're going to say, okay, how did I respond to this situation? How did this situation make me feel? Why am I hurt? Why did that person do what they did? What does that mean about me? What does that mean about them? And what you do is you take these experiences. When you need to be strong, you are good at self-reflection. And that is such a rare quality. When you think about it, it's like, okay, how many people today really take the time to say, okay, you did this to me, I'm going to stop and analyze, what happened and what the right course of action is. Sorry, I'm just going to close my window here if you're hearing sounds. But, not many people do that. Nobody says, oh, okay, I'm going to analyze, I'm going to be self-reflective so I can be a better person. And that's what you do. Whenever something triggers you, or anytime you feel that lion response start to well up inside of you, instead of acting out, you pull within and you start to say, okay, what can I do? What are the elements of this situation? How did I contribute to the situation? What's going on inside of me? And why did this situation make me feel the way that it made me feel? And that contributes to your strength. That is your strength, is that your ability to look at your own feelings and your own responses and balance them, to manage them. Now, the other, the middle part of the situation is that what does make me think is that I do feel like this is kind of a love situation. In the center, or in the core of the situation, we have the Knight of Cups reversed, and you have the 5 of Cups. And the Knight of Cups reversed, whenever he's in the reverse, he's a little bit of the, he's the cavalier lover. He is the guy who is in and out of your life for his own kind of reasons. He's a bit of the Casanova type in the negative sense. You might have had somebody who kind of, we're not villainizing anyone, but you might have had a situation where you were involved with someone romantically and they were just not they were not acting with integrity. They kept coming back to you, maybe using you for, intimacy or for romance or for physical, for physical means, and then they would just disappear again. Either that, or this could be someone who's just doesn't know what they want. They keep saying, oh, I'm here. No, I'm not. Oh, I'm here. They're emotionally not on the level, and they keep promising you things, but then not following through and being just very emotionally, up and down. And what it's doing is it's leaving you in a mourning state. These actions by this knight. And again, knights they're not pages where they're not completely immature, but they're not kings and queens. So the knight is kind of like a young adult kind of energy. It's kind of that guy who's, in his early 20s, and still he might have a little bit of knowledge. He's not a kid, but he has not completely grown up yet. And his actions, his emotional kind of, back and forth, has you looking at the relationship. It has you looking at the 3 cups and mourning, even though you have 2 cups behind you. So what I think is that I think you're really, I think the strength is you are saying, okay, what is right for me? Because these spilled cups are not for me. These spilled cups are not for me. I don't, I'm the strength. I'm this lady taming my own inner lion. I don't need any of this spilled cup crap. That's not me. That's not me. I'm, what does the wise old man need to do with a bunch of, 3 spilled cups? And honestly, 3 cups is 3 hearts, right? So it's you, it's the knight, and it's someone else. And if the knight is bringing someone else into your relationship, then you have the full right, and that's part of the strength. You have the full right to say, I'm not down for that. I don't need to be in any third-party situations. If you're going to involve me in that, bye-bye, But that takes a lot of strength, right? It takes a lot of strength. It's hard, to be that woman or that person. You could be a man watching this, and you could have had this happen to you, either, by another man or another woman. But what it basically means is that's the beauty of your strength, too, is by saying, okay, again, the lion is the ego, right? The lion is I am. And you decide who you are, right? If this person that you've been dealing with is saying, well, I'm the Knight of Cups in reverse. Okay, well, you be the Knight of Cups in reverse. Good luck with that. I'm going to be the Hermit, because that's the adult, mature thing to do. That is what honors my lion. That's what honors who I am. And the other thing is, the beautiful thing about the Strength card is it's like saying, I'm not going to worry about, what you're being. I'm going to worry about what I'm being. And what I'm being is the lion. And I'm keeping the lion happy, right? And if the lion ain't happy, ain't nobody happy, right? So I do feel like this might be a relationship situation that you're navigating. And again, you might have someone who's kind of pushing on the boat, making the boat kind of topple. And at any time, you can exude your strength. And Leo, okay, remember how we said Leo is leaders? No one screws around with Leo. When Leo makes a decision, and when you tap into your strength and say, I'm not having this, go ahead and put your foot down, because I promise you, yes, it was hard. It was hard to balance those emotions looking at those 3 spilled cups. But the moment you are done mourning, turn around, honey. Turn around, because you got 2 cups behind you, and they are upright. And it's only 2. It's not 3. It's not anybody else that, it's not anyone else in that situation. There are 2 cups, you and someone else. And you can turn to that. That can be your destiny at any time. And the beautiful thing is about your strength, you can choose that. You can choose that. The power is with you. That's the other thing that I love about the Strength card, is when you're having a tough spread and the strength comes out, it means you're going to get through this. The universe is not going to abandon you. The universe is going to give you what you want, because you've earned it. Now, moving into the future, which I think is a beautiful thing, Now, the Three of Cups is a little bit of an interpretable card, but the way what I'm seeing it is that you see three women, and you see them in almost kind of a celebratory, place, like they're almost together as friends. I think moving forward that you're really going to find great solace in your friends. Maybe you're getting over someone, or maybe you've been, going round and round with a romantic situation that's just been, giving you the runaround, messing you around. But I think moving forward, you're just gonna, again, and the strength is telling you, go out and have some fun. We're coming up on the holidays. Get together. Now, the Three of Cups I usually see as friends. I don't always, depending on the context, it could be from family. But here, or even your cousins possibly. But definitely get around, get around your group of girlfriends or guy friends. Just get around your crew, your tribe, and have some fun. I really get the feeling like the universe, you've been doing so much work, you've been doing so much internal work with this strength, you've been balancing yourself really well, and it's been a hard job. Balancing out what the reverse Knight of Cups throws at you is no pleasant task. But I do feel like the universe is telling you that, you've earned a break. You've earned a break. Now that the holidays are here, go ahead and be around your friends. Also, kind of show this guy that you don't, or this person, you don't need that. Go out and enjoy yourself. Be around, the other thing that it kind of tells me is be around people who understand and love you, And I promise you, the other thing that being around friends, especially if it's, and again, we're coming up on the holidays. The holidays are always the time of year where you start thinking about, relationships. It seems like such a barometer, who you bring to Thanksgiving dinner, who do you celebrate Christmas with. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of relationship pressure, in my opinion. But what's beautiful about hanging out with your friends is that these are the people who know and love you, right? Because when I think about it, it's like, okay, your friends know your boundaries. And when you're around your friends, would they ever do anything to make you feel like you're not enough, right? Would your friends ever make you feel like you're not worthy, or, that you need to be shared with a third party, I think what it's telling you is that being around your friends, being around people who encourage and love you for you, will encourage your strength. Because this has been challenging. This has been a counterbalance to your strength. You see how this is kind of opposite of it. And it's bringing about these really kind of negative, sad feelings. So get around your friends that know and love you, who support you, and just know that you deserve that treatment, right? You don't deserve this treatment. You deserve that treatment. And the other thing is, I just feel like it's so eye-opening when you get around people who know and support you, that that's the way you deserve to be treated. That's what you've earned. And the more you're around that, the more it reinforces your strength. And then your two oracle cards, you got two of them, and both of them are really cute. And don't take it the wrong way, but you got Cow Spirit, and I love Cow Spirit. And look at this, she's got, okay, synchronicity alert. You got all these flowers in the crown, and remember how we say, the Strength card has flowers in her crown? Look at that. Synchronicities. So, on the cow, which is a beautiful card, all of these are such pretty cards. The miracles are endless, right? So it's telling you that, it's been a long haul. It's been a long haul, but you're almost to the end of it. Restore your strength. Get around in an environment that kind of recycles, that sends good vibes back to you, and you're on the precipice of some really wonderful change. Good things are coming towards you. The miracles are endless. And look, there's sunflowers too, which means self-esteem. That's a very Leo card. It's on the Queen of Wands, the sunflower. Now the other one you got is Bee Spirit, and oh, I love bees. Bees are my favorite. But you got sweet results await. gosh, guys. So miracles are endless and sweet results await. It just means that it gets better from here. You're on your way up, right? And the Three of Cups is a celebration card. It could mean that, you know, you're about to really come upon a time that you're going to feel like you're out of the woods, and you're going to finally start to feel better. And sweet results await. So all of this hard work. I think the other thing that's true about strength is that all of this hard work is not for nothing. I know I kind of eye roll anytime someone says, well, you're learning so much, and you're just like, yeah, gee, thanks. I'd rather not learn this and not have to go through so much BS. But you know, it really does. Strength strengthens you by you learn how to handle these kind of, you know, these not so good people when you have these experiences, and it makes you that much stronger next time. And believe it or not, in life and in relationships, when you know what you want, that's half the battle. The moment that you say, I'm not going to even entertain someone who would do something like this. The moment I can see you a mile off, thank you for the radar. I've got the radar now. You know, good luck next time, buddy. You know, go ahead and play that game on someone else, because now I know what to look for, you know, and I won't be going for that again. So your animal card, and you got the octopus, and oh, I love this. So the octopus means reveal. And what it says is, spending nearly every moment in confinement, octopus demonstrates the impressive impact of revelation. He is often found curled up in his cave, plagued by self-preservation and frozen by fear. When necessity requires trips outside, he travels in trepidation. Arriving in a moment of uncertainty, octopus explodes with intensity. In his example, we are reminded that revealing oneself requires bravery. In exposure, we are defenseless. We must lend ourselves grace when we are vulnerable. So, well, guys, I really feel like this plays into the hermit, because look, the hermit goes into a cave, he withdraws into himself, right? And he does it for good reason. But then, you know, like you said, maybe, you know, what I'm kind of getting here as well is maybe you have had some bumps and bruises in the relationship arena, and it's made you not want to go out and try. And that's not a bad thing, believe me. You know, if you've really been hurt, you know, take your time. There's no rush. But what it's telling you is, it talks about bravery, right? It says, you know, the octopus he only goes out when he has to, and when he does, he kind of explodes. But it says that, you know, be brave. And what is strength? Strength is bravery, right? It's taming that fear. It's taming the beast, right? And it's still going out. And what that's telling me is that it's telling me that you've learned a lot about your previous experiences. And if you do brave, and if you leave your cave, you're gonna go out and really be celebrated. You're going to have a good time. You know, miracles are out there for you, and you have been working hard. You've earned having some you know, camaraderie around you. And so, you know, definitely do it on your own time. Don't push yourself, but there's some, you know, there's people around you who support you and love you just as you are. All right, deck number 2. So I hope that's a really beautiful reading. I really enjoyed that. I really do love the octopus, and honestly, bee is like my favorite. I actually have a bee. I have a real bee. I know. It's funny. I found a bee on my windowsill. He passed of natural causes, but he kind of found me, and he was on my windowsill. And what I did is I didn't have the heart. He was just such a beautiful specimen. I didn't have the heart to not keep him. So I found a little container, and I keep him in the container, and he's my bee. He's my bee. All right, so deck number 3, we got the Slow Tarot, Strength. So deck number 3, how does strength manifest in your life? Deck number 3, how does strength manifest in your life? Ooh, all right. Let's go ahead and put this here. We kind of got it boom, boom, boom. right, we're gonna take them all. Wow. That Knight of Swords has been wanting to come out. He's on a horse that wants to lunge out anyway, and every single time he's like poking me in the thumb, like, let me jump out, and he looks like he's jumping out anyway. But that just really tells me there's someone chomping at the bit to try to tell you something, or you know, someone wants to communicate. Someone wants to communicate. All right, so let's get into this. Oh, guys, that Three of Swords. Okay, again, if you picked any of the decks, we did have from the weekend reading, we had one deck that had the Three of Swords in it. So, but we fear nothing. There's no such thing as bad cards. So, let's see how Strength handles the Three of Swords. Strength handles the Three of Swords. Three of Swords is no match for Strength. All right, so deck number 3. What is our advice? Deck number 3. Yo, I love this. I love this. Look at this. Yeah, buddy, it does. You know it does. All right. So last card. Ooh. Got 2. Got Lion. Oh, and on the top, guys, look at this. On the top, look at that. Synchronicity alert. Reverence. But, all right, we're going to leave that on top because we got 2 here. But you did get Lion. You got Lion. Okay, and we're talking about Strength. Yeah. Look at this. We got some synchronicities. See, it's going to be all right. No worries, because it's going to be all right. Okay, no naked bits. Good. And actually, this is very positive, guys. Very positive, but all right. It definitely feels like it feels like a relationship person. We don't exactly have people popping up. We don't have any knights or queens or pages or anything like that. But I'm definitely getting like your strength. The reason that you are exuding strength right now is because in the first position you got the 6 of Cups. And look at all the flowers in this card. I really like this card. But the 6 of Cups always depicts, it's a lot of flowers in the card, but it shows 2 children, one male, one female, and they are children. And it looks like it always, in all of the depictions of the 6 of Cups, and here the cups are in the foreground, and they have flowers coming out of them. And I love it. It's got daisies and marigolds and roses. But here you have a boy approaching a girl who are on the equal level, and it's almost as if he's offering her a flower, right? He's coming through and he's saying, hey, it's the 6 of Cups usually means camaraderie. It means 2 people that might have either known each other from a young age. Either that, or they feel like they can be children around each other. And I know that's a weird definition for the 6 of Cups, but I just always feel like it's that person that it's someone that if you've ever read Anne of Green Gables, you know how she refers to Diana as a kindred spirit. It's just somebody that you feel, it feels very soulmate-ish, right? And it can be you and a romantic partner. It can be you with a best friend. It can be, same sex, opposite sex. But it just basically means that, it usually means there's some kind of reconciliation that is on the horizon. The fact that this is in the past position means that I get the feeling like someone might have been coming around that you've known from the past, who really seems like they're giving you messages like they want to, almost as if they want to rekindle with you, or that they're just a really good friend. It's someone that's coming around in your sphere. Now, what makes me feel like that it's kind of more romantic is the fact that you do have to exude strength regarding this. There's something about this situation that says, okay, I have to manage it. It's almost like you want to jump for it, or something in your unconscious really makes you eager. It just kind of that knee-jerk response. So I have a feeling like either you're the person giving the flowers or you're the person receiving the flowers, and you kind of want to jump at it. You've got this underneath, you know, in the gut of your stomach, you kind of like, yes, okay, yay, you know, let's do this. And it's very enthusiastic because they're children, you know. It's almost like your inner self just wants to be, you know, silly like a child and just go for it, right? Impulsive. But when you get to the core of the situation, you got the 4 coins. Now, the 4 coins is someone who's managing their money. Now, again, this is the slow tarot, and this is really, again, all the images have a lot of depth to them. But here you see a woman who, she has a lot of golden jewels on her, and, you know, splayed in her hand, she's got 4 coins. Now, the 4 coins is someone who is conserving their money. It's someone who has fiscal considerations on their mind. You know, it's almost as if the lion is the children, but the woman is the person minding the money, right? So what's happening is I'm getting the sense like you don't have the luxury of being impulsive. You can't just jump into this reconciliation because there's financial things that need to be considered. You can't just say, oh, I like you, let's be friends, okay, let's do it. It's not that simple. It's not that simple. There would be a lot of planning and a lot of financial considerations if you wanted to do this. And that's where the strength comes into play. Now, what's blowing my mind here is that if you watch the How to Tarot Lovers, 6, the card the Lovers is 6, right? It's the number 6. And I talked in that video about how when you have one person, they are a 3, they're mind, body, soul. And then you have another person, they are also 3, mind, body, soul. They are their own, you are your own person before you enter into a balanced relationship with someone else. And then the balanced relationship is the 6, right? Now, what I'm seeing here is that in the future, or the future that you want to happen, is temperance. And temperance is a really quite beautiful card. And what is beautiful about this card is that if you look in the background, it's like it's this ornate window that looks like it's been broken, right? It looks like someone threw a rock through this window, and you have this young man who's like a maitre d' or a waiter. You know, he has gloves on and he's serving tea, and he's basically like the angel in temperance, right? And he's balancing, or when you look at it, there's 2 women here, and they look like twins, right? They both have they have hair that looks like it's kind of being blown around, right? And it's almost like this person is this calm, placid force between these 2 parallels, and these 2 people look like mirrors to one another, right? So it is kind of, the waiter is maintaining civility. He's keeping a balance between 2 opposites. It's almost kind of twin flamish in the way that it seems like, okay, these 2 people are mirrors of one another. They're almost the same person. And in between, this person is just kind of, you know, calming the waters, or being very temperate. He's being very patient and quiet. And again, strength is patience, right? It's exuding, you know, patience between 2. So I'm getting definitely a vibe that what I'm seeing is that I see that the beginnings of some kind of reconciliation have occurred. It's started in kind of a small way. Again, it's, you know, you might have heard from someone from your past, or, you know, maybe you got some small you know, small signs that somebody was interested in speaking to you again. But the current is that in order to really go forward or to make this connection happen would involve some planning or some money management, or some kind of organization of assets, you know, whether that be a home or finances. But someone really has to mind their money. Someone needs to save their money, and it could be you or it could be the other person. Here I'm kind of getting the vibe that it's you. But in the future you really do, and the thing is, these are both the Six of Cups and Temperance are reconciliation cards. They're cards about Temperance is about putting a balance between two opposing forces, and Temperance is Major Arcana, and so is Strength. So I just get this feeling like in the past there might have been an imbalance, or there might have been the person that you're trying to speak to might have been at odds, or you just maybe weren't seeing eye to eye. But it's almost like and the fact that Temperance usually is an angel, and here you have someone that looks like a servant. And again, remember how I said the woman in the Strength card is Virgo, and Virgo is about serving. It's about being of service. So I get this feeling like you really want balance with this person, and I'm getting a vibe like you're almost praying to God, like you're praying to a higher power to make it happen. But there is a lot of where the Strength comes in is that there's a lot of money involved. Like you either have to pay down bills, or you have to manage something fiscal that you have going on. And because that's in between, you know, you have kind of a humble beginning, a very small kind of gesture, and then it transitions, it goes through the money management. It's almost like the money is blocking, and then going, you know, this is Minor Arcana, this is Major Arcana. Major Arcana doesn't play, Major is Major. And it's like you have an angel, you have divine guidance coming in and, you know, blending the two opposite forces so they're on the same page. So you want this, you want these two persons to be on the same page. You want this person to be your friend. But there seems to be some kind of financial element, and that's the root of why you have to be strong. That's the root of why you have to be strong. I hope that makes sense. I'm just reading it how I see it. Now, we got some extra cards, and again, underneath the root, like the root's root, is you got the Two of Wands. And the Two of Wands is that decision card. This is another card that's been following us around. I think it did come out, maybe not in the weekly reading, but it came out like the week before. But the Two of Wands is where I'm reading it as yours. This is you. And what it is that you are on the brink of making a major change. You kind of have a choice, you know, between two major events. Like in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, the one rod is bolted to the wall and the other is in the person's hand. Here, the person is kind of using the two rods almost like I forget what you call that when you create circles or you map, and they're mapping their course, which I think is such a neat interpretation of this card. But you really do, once you have the money in order, or once you've taken care of the financial issues, you kind of, and the way the cards are kind of falling is, it's like one choice will bring you here, and the other choice. So the first option, or the first rod, would bring you the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords is really a lovely card. It shows it's the same, you know, people in a boat. This is another card that's been showing up a lot. And it's really beautiful. The boat is going from rocky seas to smooth waters, and it's going to another shore. And what's gorgeous is out in the distance, there is a lighthouse which is guiding the way. So I really get the feeling like one of your choices, the choice that is on the side of the globe, on the side of the, the choice that would give you the world, is the Six of Swords. So I do think that you're going towards calmer waters. You're going towards something that would be better for you. Now, this is unfortunately another card that's been following us around, is that it really looks like the other choice might lead you to the Three of Swords. And again, there are no bad cards in tarot, but it's kind of like, I think what it's really telling you is that, the situation that's calling for you to have strength is, it's kind of asking you, if this person comes back into your life and, tries to make peace, or tries to, and again, it seems like the universe, it seems like a higher power is trying to temper the situation between you. There's financial aspects to it, but if the decision is made, it's either, one choice would take you towards a new beginning. It would allow you to start on a journey towards peace and towards something, calmer waters. But the other choice might lead you to heartbreak. And that's not to scare anyone, but I think it's just asking you, okay, do you want, I think what it's saying, and this being a previous, like a former person, I think it's saying that the choice is yours. The choice is yours. Do you want to move on? Do you want to sail the ocean of emotion, or, to another shore? Or do you want to potentially risk, being hurt the way, if something had happened with this person before, would you want to risk that happening again, a repeat of the past? Now, your oracle card, which I thought was so neat, because again, remember on the top of the deck, you got eagle spirit, which is so beautiful. It says spirit has your back. Spirit has your back. And it really does. I mean, look, the temperance and the smooth sailing and the lighthouse, and you see a seagull in the air, which means, it means land is ahead. And remember, in temperance, normally temperance is an angel, but it just means that, don't worry so much about the choice. Just trust your instinct, because spirit has your back. Spirit will do what's best for you. Now, your other animal card is you got lion, which is great, is so great for strength. So lion means leadership. Lion embodies qualities of leadership, courage, assertiveness, and personal strength. His bravery serves as an example of fortitude needed to navigate deeply emotional and personal struggles. Often a driving catalyst for change. Lion empowers us to lead. With quiet presence, he bolsters his pride. Wise and noble, he owns his weaknesses, reminding us of our interconnectedness. He encourages us to use our power in service to others rather than domination. So that's so beautiful. And honestly, when it talks about, deep emotional struggles, I mean, water means emotions, right? And we talked about quiet and peace and strength and how, strength, the card can also mean, holding back and, reining in your desires for the greater good, for the right good. The right good, if that's a thing. And then you also got badger, and badger is manifestation. All the fauna, badger is one of the most misunderstood creatures. While believed to be fiercely protective of his abode, badger is actually very docile. Is a very docile, curious animal. Frequently found with his nose to the ground, badger is adept at thriving in many environments. With focused intent, he encourages us to dig in and do our work. He teaches us about showing up in conscious participation. Badger is a tenacious tutor, a purveyor of manifestation, and a master of making things happen, making life happen. So again, that really pertains to strength, right? Digging in and he's a docile, curious animal. So I think I'm really drawn to those keywords where it's this kind of telling you, when life gets tough, I think is what it's trying to say is to try to stay fluid, try to stay limber. And I know that's really hard. It's really hard when you're struggling or you're faced with something that's calling for you to have strength. But yeah, and there is a decision here. There's a choice to be made, and it's really up to you, but you can choose to go to calmer waters. That is free will. Free will is yours, and it does take strength. It takes a lot of strength. But okay, well, that was a really good reading, Pile 3, and I really love the messages that came out today. I think they were very empowering, and again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me today. There will be a special post on Thanksgiving that I will announce the title of it on that day. I hope if you got a chance after having your meal, spending time with family, that you get a chance to watch that. And then I will also have the weekly energy card reading again this Saturday. But thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you in the next video. Okay, bye.